It is 4 p.m. We bring developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories for watching this Monday, March 10. Justice Assistant Secretary Miko Clavano says they have not received any notice from the International Criminal Court for the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte. For their part, the ICC Prosecutor's Office refused to comment on the reports, citing confidentiality in ongoing investigations. The court is probing possible crimes against humanity linked to Duterte's drug war.
As of 4 p.m. today, we checked Digong's name on the Interpol website and nothing so far. It's important to note, though, that the Interpol red notices are not always made public, hence posted and therefore posted it on their website. That's because these notices are primarily for use of law enforcers. Former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque denies claims that Duterte flew overseas to evade arrest. He says Duterte and his daughter, Vice President Sara, were in Hong Kong over the weekend for a campaign rally and nothing more. No word yet on whether Duterte is returning to the Philippines, but the office of the Vice President said Sara is flying back within the week. But House Prosecutor Representative Joel Chua is questioning the timing of this trip. He noted that the event's crowd was mainly composed of Kingdom of Jesus Christ members, not the broader OFW community as earlier reported.
Kinakailangan linawin yung kumakalat na fake news na ang dating Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte daw ay tumakas papuntang Hong Kong dahil meron na raw warrant of arrest galing sa ICC. At sinasabi rin nila dahil nandito rin siya o nasa Hong Kong din ang ating Vice President Sara Duterte ay tumakas din daw ang Vice President Sara Duterte. Lilinawin ko lang po nasa Hong Kong po ang mag-ama dahil meron pong rally doon sa Hong Kong na dinaluhan ng mga kandidato ng PDP laban. Hindi po yan para tumakas.
Hindi natin alam kung yun po talaga ay yung biyahe nila dun dahil nga po sa talagang official, dahil sa mga OFW o dahil nga sa may nagsisirculate po na rumors about this arrest warrant. But it is quite noticeable until now ay wala pa rin yung ating dating Pangulo. At kung makikita po ninyo, yung pong crowd po nila doon ay yung KOJC. So hindi naman po talaga yun OFW na pangkalahatan. It was a set up program kung saan ang KOJC po ang kanilang captured audience.
And overseas, former central banker Mark Carney is Canada's new prime minister, succeeding Justin Trudeau. That's after he won the leadership race for the country's ruling Liberal Party. Carney secured a decisive victory with 86% of the vote, defeating former finance minister Chrystia Freeland. And joining us today, Storycon's resident pandit pangkalawakan at pangkalahatan, Tito Rol Llamas.
Happy Monday,
Happy
everyone,
Monday.
Even Ed Lingao,
And from the Philippine Star, of course, Editor-in-Chief Ami Pamintuan. Hi, Ami.
Hi, Ami. Kasing kulay mo yung
Happy
kanyo.
Monday. Happy week.
Kasing kulay niyo yung The Star.
Oo nga.
Oo nga.
Yung yellow ng
Sabi
star.
may konti kang
Magdidilaw ako
blue.
ngayon, di ba? O, yan ang tunay na dilaw, hindi yan beige.
Parang kanyan, parang lemon yellow.
Yes.
Basta dilaw to. Hindi siya
Oo nga,
tan.
parang yellow ng Philippine Star. Iisa lang ang headline today, the ICC arrest warrant. At this point, no confirmation yet if
Sarap ng ngiti nito
Nag-reach out kami sa ICC.
Yes.
Ang sabi ng ICC, no comment.
Hindi aamin ang ICC.
because they don't comment on individual cases, but they did
On
confirm that they've been working on this case since 2022 ba yun or 2023?
Saka ayaw nila i-forewarn kung sino man yung huhulihin o i-issuehan ng international warrant. Parang huhulihin ko sa Ed Lingao, tapos papaalam ko sa 1PH, Siyempre hindi,
Di ba gawain dito yun?
Oh, di ba?
Di ba gawain dito yun?
Oh, hindi ko ipapaalam, di ba? Oh. Pero nagtataka
Akala
lang
ko
ako,
may dadaan pa
Ami.
sa Interpol, di ba? Mukhang may dadaan yan sa Interpol eh. So,
Yes.
syempre, hindi magko-comment yung ICC.
Yes, nagtataka lang ako, Ami, bakit sinasabi ng DOJ na hindi naman sila kinokontak? Ba't sinasabi ng Solgen, hindi naman sila kinokontak? Dahil daw dapat ang kokontakin daw DFA. Eh sila lagi nagsasabi na umalis na kasi tayo sa ICC, so wala nang coordination, wala nang tulungan. So if ever, magko-coordinate ang ICC sa Interpol at yung Interpol sa miyembro nila rito, which is the
No enforcement.
Philippine National Police. So, nagugulat lang ako, bakit sila nagugulat na walang coordination sa kanila? Eh, sila naman ang ayaw makipag-coordinate.
But
Ngayon, sabi ng, ng Department of Justice, kung mag-issue daw ng red notice ang Interpol, i-review pa daw yon ng NBI, ng Philippine National Police, sa Bureau of Immigration. Although, sa tingin ko naman yung ang dami-dami ng mga comment ng Malacanang, ano?
Yes.
And of course, Department of Justice, alam naman natin na pagbibigyan nila, they are duty-bound.
Yes.
Di ba sinabi na nila yan eh?
yes.
To carry out our commitments to the Interpol.
When we interviewed Solgen Guevara a few months ago, sabi naman niya, the first agency that should receive the notice would be DFA nga, out of courtesy to the Philippines as a sovereign entity. Dapat masabihan mo ng DFA. But of course, the DFA is not in charge of doing anything. Parang notice lang. As you said, yung Interpol will be coordinating directly with the law enforcers here, which would be PNP, NBI.
Pag naglabas kasi ng red notice, ibig sabihin ay yung mga airport na possibly puntahan ni Digong ay kung pupunta siya ron, i-hold siya ron. Yun ang ibig sabihin. No?
Globally to. This is everywhere.
Ibig sabihin, kahit
Yeah.
dito. Hindi na kinakailangan ng whole departure order galing sa DOJ.
Actually, yung point of contact ng Interpol would be the National Central Bureau of each and every member country, 196 member
Yes.
countries.
Yeah.
Yung NCB sa Pilipinas is with the NBI. So if at all any direct contact between Interpol and the local authorities would go through the NCB, NBI. So actually, hindi dapat sabihin ng reporter ng NBI, no?
But
Kahit sa Hong Kong, pwede siyang maaresto. Kasi
Theoret-
China is also a party to the Interpol.
theoretically. Pero dahil very close siya sa China, hindi ako
Kaya lang nga,
magugulat.
yun na nga.
Hindi nakakagulat kung sakaling hindi yan i-implement ng China.
Oo.
But Ronald,
Baka sabihin,
Baka
hindi
nga,
ka
baka nga dahil nasabihan yung Interpol ng ICC, assuming na meron ng warrant,
Kaya
ang,
nasa
ang
Hong Kong.
China ay nasa Interpol. No? Kaya pwedeng may nag-text na, uy, may warrant ka na rito. no?
by the way, we should point out how this story broke over the weekend.
Paano ba?
Ang alam ko, the first to report on it was Rappler. They had a source. Tapos later on, yung ibang newspapers like
Anong
Manila
tawag nila sa
Times.
source? Anong tawag nila?
An impeachable source.
Unimpeachable. Ibig sabihin, hindi pwedeng
Hindi
ma-impeach.
may impeach. Hindi may
So, hindi yung top 6. Kilala mo ba sino yung source that we're talking about?
Ba't ko kilala? Ko talaga.
Ito na,
Hirap dito nang uhuli.
what are you free to tell us?
Oo nga, sige. Let's hear it.
Na
What do you
malaki
know?
ang chance na nagpaabot na nga ang ICC
Malaki ang chance.
sa Interpol
Last year pa malaki ang chance.
ng notice
Hindi naman yan sinasabi mo kanina
merong
eh.
warrant. Malaki ang chance, no?
Na nag-abot
Yung ICC, pinabot na sa Interpol
Oo.
na possible na meron ng warrant. Malaki yung chance na yon. At dahil maraming bansa sa Interpol, baka sa isang bansa ron, tinimbrihan ang dating presidente. No? Kaya pumunta siya sa Hong Kong Disneyland. No?
Matagal na daw scheduled, sabi ning...
Hindi naman mahilig bumiyahe si Digong. Alam ko, huli niyang biyahe. Yung biyahe
Sabi
niya
ni-
2 years ago sa China. Na na-meet niya si Xi Jinping. Lalo na doon sa kanyang health. Medyo hindi ganun ka
That's true, no?
dalas na
Medyo
bumiyahe.
mahirap na siya
Tsaka he
mag
doesn't exactly go around campaigning for its candidates. Not even nationally, not much eh. How much would internationally?
Yung last time sa Club Filipino.
Yung launch yun.
Oo, yung launch ng campaign nila.
Kaya marami silang suspicions. No? Pero sabi nga ng Rappler, merong unimpeachable source. Pero pag Philippine Star ang nagsabi nun, 100%
Maniniwala
yun.
tayo, no?
Maniniwala tayo dyan, no?
Pero ano, ang tanong ngayon, Ronald, kasama kaya si VP Sara? Hindi naman siguro,
Hindi.
no?
Hindi.
Kasi
Hindi siya
ano pa,
principal.
down the line pa yan yung role niya, yung possible role niya.
Hindi siya principal eh.
Hindi siya kasama.
Although kasama siya sa testimony ni Las Cañas. No?
Yes.
Doon sa crimes against
Yung
humanity.
period covered, ano siya, yung mayor siya, hindi ba?
Mayor.
Merong period covered when she was the mayor.
Kaya mukhang totoo naman na babalik pa siya rito. Dahil hindi naman siya kasama, malamang, doon sa warrant. Unless, medyo nagbago na yung protocols ng ICC. Usually kasi sa ICC, yung principals lang. Para hindi masyadong
Yes.
tumagal yung kaso.
Yeah.
No? Dahil kung marami kasi, tatagal yung kaso.
Pero yung iba, Bato, for example.
But this time around,
Si
wala
Bato,
pa daw.
posible na
Yeah.
kasama.
Yeah.
Dahil siya yung architect ng
Yung
Tokhang.
iba pang general, Ronald, sila Albayalde.
Oscar Albayalde.
Yung binanggit
Well,
na yan
labing dalawa hanggang 15 yung original names na isinampas sa preliminary examination ng ICC. Kasama pa nga doon si Garma. Kasama rin doon si Justice Aguirre. So medyo marami
Yes.
yung initial, tawag nila communication. Dahil wala naman kasi nagsasampa ng kaso sa ICC. Yung ginawa ng ICC, motu proprio, on their own. Walang nagsampa ng kaso. Ang ginawa ng mga iba, katulad ni Trillanes at saka ni Attorney Sabio, nag-submit ng
Evidence.
communication. Ang tawag nila communication, yun yung technical term. Kaya yung sa initial communication, 15 pangalan yata ang kasama. Including Garma, including Justice Aguirre.
Eventually though, sabi ni former Senator Trillanes, it was narrowed down to 5 names as principals. As
Yes.
Ami mentioned, si
Yes.
former PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde,
Yes.
yung NICA Director,
Monteagudo.
hindi, whose name I can't
Si
remember.
ano?
Iba.
Isa pa.
Iba.
But there were 5 names.
Iba.
Kaya nga, as principal, hindi pa kasama si Vice President Sara Duterte doon.
And stop calling him Justice Aguirre. He's Justice Secretary Aguirre. Hindi
Secretary.
hindi Supreme Court Justice.
O, sige.
Former Justice Secretary.
Secretary of,
Nakakaroon
Yun,
Justice
Sige, sige,
tanungin
sige.
natin ang abogado ng ICC.
Secretary of Injustice Aguirre.
Okay,
Scratch that from the records. Scratch that.
kumintat bigla.
Okay.
Okay, let's bring in our first guest for today, Attorney Cristina Conti. Abogado po siya ng mga drug war complainants sa ICC. Magandang hapon po and welcome back to Storycon, Attorney Conti.
Gandang hapon, attorney. Di ba, attorney,
Hi,
mapayag kayo ron
attorney.
sa sinabi ko, Secretary of Injustice Aguirre?
Sorry. Magandang hapon.
Good afternoon.
Si Ronald lang po yun.
Ano po yun?
Tinawag ko na,
Attorney,
sabi ko
medyo
si,
mahina yung ano mo.
sabi ko si Secretary
Audio mo.
of Injustice Aguirre. Sabi ko, papayag kayo ron.
Well,
Sabi ko,
I would agree with you
Oh,
because
diba?
Aguirre was
Ay ma'am, you're choppy.
Attorney.
freeze ka,
Nag-freeze,
attorney.
oo, nag-freeze.
critical or
Ma'am?
nag-freeze. So let me see if I can get
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, if we can't get a good signal, baka sige mag-phoner tayo.
Yes.
okay.
Kahit
Okay,
audio.
we'll take audio na lang. Zoom audio at this
Ma'am, we'll
point.
get back to you. We'll call you na lang para we can get a better audio, better line. Kasi it's more important that we hear you than we see
Oh,
you.
nga eh.
Yeah. Ayun na.
Or ba is
Ayan,
that
okay
okay?
na,
Ma'am,
maganda
teka,
na.
ma'am,
Yes.
mukhang okay na yan.
Okay na yan.
Okay, so yes, I would agree. Si Vitaliano Aguirre talaga yung nagpalala ng war on drugs in the sense that he allowed the Justice Department to support it. Kaya walang investigation. Kaya yung mga prosecutor ng time na yun, kapag may drug case or may charges na buy bust, ganyan, sabi niya, ituloy nyo lang sa korte. Let the court decide on it rather than sa prosecution pa lang, ma-whittle down mo na kung ano ba yung totoo at hindi. Kaya the Justice Department really played a big role in making this entire quote-unquote war on drugs result in killings and thousands of arrests.
Ma'am, big question. I suppose everybody's asked you this already. Any indicators so far na talagang naglabas nga ng sabi ng red notice para diretso tayo, huwag na tayo maligo-ligo ng araswan. Red notice ng Interpol.
Baka mamayang gabi pa.
Ako, may indication, kumbaga may indicators are usually yung mga guilty, kung ano yung galawan nila. And so Duterte left the country. I'm waiting for Senator Bato's reaction because most probably he would have been approached some way or another about these warrants. Yung kay Duterte, na pag-alis niya, ang inaabangan ng mga tao kung babalik. Tapos na yung activity tingnan natin kung babalik. Pero as to official confirmation, babalik ulit ako dun sa only the Philippine government and the ICC are in a position to confirm this, and unless we are authorized to do so as well, di saka kami makaka-eksena. Pero sa ngayon, pinagpapaubayan namin sila kasi total sila naman yung dapat mang-aresto. Magagaling sa korte yung warrant, addressed sa mga bansa kung saan matatagpuan yung wanted, at yung pulis ng bansang yun ang mag-execute ng warrant.
Actually, Attorney Conti, we had Senator Bato de la Rosa here on the set last week. And we asked him if meron na siyang natanggap na letter or any formal notification from ICC. And at that point, sabi niya, wala pa. Because a few months ago, he said he was getting calls from an overseas number pero hindi niya sinasagot. Anyways, fast forward to last week, sabi niya, wala pa yung notification. But we're also hearing na yung warrant, yung red notice, would have been issued a few days ago already. So, what do you think? Yung named na principal here is former President Duterte. Would Senator Bato de la Rosa, would he have gotten something already? Or should he have gotten something already last week?
Well, I'm not sure about the times. Again, yung formality as to when and sino yung inusyuhan ng warrant of arrest, it would be best for the ICC itself and the Philippine government to announce. Ako, ang inaabangan ko yung ICC website because that's when the public will know. Karim Khan will announce that, today, I announce. British yan, si Karim Khan. But as to Bato de la Rosa, kung hindi man last week ang kanyang warrant, soon enough. Because if we go back to the documents, narinig ko kanina parang pinag-usapan ano yung mga names na forwarded. I'd like to also put in some other names that the victims forwarded, and that would be Lito Patay's name, who figured in several of the big ticket, kumbaga, na mga kaganapan, mga one-time, big-time. And several other officials that we've also put in. Dito sa communications, ano naman bato nyo lahat. So there were many names. But of all those names, the Office of the Prosecutor only put in 3 in their request to open the investigation. Duterte, De La Rosa, Albayalde. So I'm pretty sure they're up next. Kung meron mang i-issuehan na kung ano man, warrant man or summons.
Ma'am, how does this work? Sige, Ami, go ahead.
Ulitin ko lang yung process yun na nga. Palagay ko pareho tayong tatanungin So, kung magkakaroon ng warrant, we're expecting na idadaan sa Interpol, Then the Interpol will, sino magno-notify sa gobyerno natin? With the ICC, we are no longer, hindi na tayo part nila Saan nila padadaanin yung gusto nila to get custody of a Filipino?
Technically, the issuance or the announcement of the warrant will only come from the ICC. Siya lang naman kasi yung nag-issue, wala namang iba. Kaya, how and who the ICC will share this information? First, it has to share this information, or it will announce it to those who are member states of the ICC, 125 countries.
Okay.
And also, dadamay na rin nila yung mga bansa, also to those countries who are hosting or where these people may be found. That would cover the Philippines. And then, because of a special agreement with the Interpol, they're also obliged to send it out to the Interpol. The Interpol being an organization that is data sharing. So, ganun yung parang characterization ng kanilang agreement. It's a data sharing agreement, information sharing, where at the minimum, you give us the coordinates or the locations of all these people wanted, red notice, or all these people who are being monitored, blue notice naman yun.
Ma'am, we've been hearing in the past 4 months, 5 months na, well, from Malacanang saying na if the ICC releases a warrant and the Interpol releases a red notice, they will abide by all agreements with the Interpol and so on down the line. The implication being that they will conduct the arrest for the Interpol as per agreed on in previous treaties. Pero I'm wondering lang, is there anything in the fine print that could possibly derail that? Baka naman bigla na lang sasabihin na, ay hindi pala, may ganito palang ano, may ganito pala nakatago na fine print na hindi pala natin kailangan galawin, hindi natin pwedeng galawin. Is there anything that could possibly derail that possibility that they've been banding around for so many months?
Politics.
Well, I don't think it would be the fine print. It would be the larger print. Kasi sa larger print, the Interpol cannot order the arrest of a person. It cannot compel a member state to arrest a person. The only requirement or what's only mandatory is that you share information about the location of a person. The Interpol will not send someone from their team to conduct the arrests. It's really more of information or data gathering nga. Kaya yun yung limitation dyan. Nakuha na namin, Interpol. Ano ngayon? Ganun lang. But what I'm seeing, the larger picture outside of this Interpol arrangement pa, and this is what we're preparing for the accused or subjects of the warrants of arrest to question this legally. Meron bang legal basis ito sa Pilipinas considering that this is an international warrant of arrest? It would be
Ayun ang
interesting.
itatanong ko, attorney. Kasi when we talk to Senator Bato de la Rosa, sabi niya, kapag yan nga in-issue yung warrant na yan, aakyat daw siya sa Supreme Court. What happens if it goes to the Supreme Court?
Then all the issues could come out before the court for consideration. One, does the ICC still have jurisdiction over this particular limited portion? Investigation into crimes against humanity within November 2011 hanggang 2019, March. And I would see the Supreme Court looking back into the decision, Pangilinan versus Cayetano, kung saan pinagpasyahan nila yung patungkol doon sa pagkalas natin sa ICC. At sabi ng Supreme Court doon, well, wala na tayong magagawa. Kumalas na. May kapangyarihan ang presidente ng Pilipinas. Pero, at dito, for others, they would look at this as parang obiter dictum o nabanggit lang naman, hindi naman yun yung desisyon. But the court already has said that we have residual obligations or continuing obligations because of our participation or membership in the court. Hindi natin may iwasan yun na parang kalimutan na lang.
At
I'm
attorney,
pretty
unanimous
confident
yun. Unanimous
they
yung
will-
opinion na yun, di ba? That was a unanimous decision. Walang kumontra ron. Kaya kahit mag-file ng kaso, sila Bato, sila Digong sa Supreme Court, parang malabo naman, nakakainin na lang ng Supreme Court yung kanilang December 2021 opinion na consent na unanimous, di ba?
True. Mahirap ding baliktarin yun kasi the decision laid out so many laws, so many principles in relation to our international obligations. Masinsin yung kaso na yun. Kaya I would even say that it's a landmark case. Kasi ito yung tipong babalik-balikan at aaralin sa law school. It was really very instructive as to parameters of the the president and then particularly as to the ICC. Kasi dun lang halos yung kaso natin na patungkol sa ICC. And even looking into cases of kumbaga yung RA 9851, which is our local version of the Rome Statute. Dito din pinaparusahan yung crimes against humanity, genocide, etc. Maski nga yung local law natin, walang ibang krimen na umakyat sa Supreme Court na ito yung tinatalakay. Kaya pag sinearch mo, crimes against humanity, Supreme Court of the Philippines, decisions or jurisprudence, ang lalabas ito, yung Pangilinan versus Cayetano, and a few other cases. Pero as to the meat or the substance of the case, ito ang instructive or decisive talaga.
Pero attorney, pwedeng ma-delay yung pag-carry out ng arrest. If there is a case before the Supreme Court, pwede siyang ma-delay, hindi ba?
Yes.
Pwede sabihin ng Supreme Court, hintayin nyo na mag-final resolution kami.
Pwede, kasi an act of the executive can be hindered, interrupted by an order or a decision from the Supreme Court. Lalo na kung may TRO. Kaya may ganun na technicality. They need first to secure the TRO. And on the part of the Supreme Court, I've seen some instances na hindi nag-i-issue ng TRO. Although there are some instances na nag-i-issue ng TRO. The TRO is crucial, or even yung preliminary injunction, kasi habang dinidinig, tigil muna.
Yes.
Pero kung wala, pwedeng i-enforce. Kaya it's both
Ang hinihintay kong
decision.
ang expected na argument nila, ng kampo nila, inumpisahan na ng Department of Justice ang investigate for Republic Act, yung sa Crimes Against Humanity, yung atin. Yun ang i-invoke nila na nag-uupisa na yung process dito and mawawala ng jurisdiction muna. Yung complementarity, it will kick in because of that. Paano pag yun ang invoke nila sa Supreme Court?
And we also invoke Article 17 of the same rule, yung of the same law, RA 9851, which is reverse complementarity. Kinikilala dito sa batas natin, sa local law, na kapag meron ng ibang nag-iimbestiga, magpapaubaya. Kaya reverse in the sense na, sa totoo, dapat yung nagpapaubaya ay yung ICC. Kung may nangyayaring domestic case or investigation, yun yung mauna or pagpapatuloy. Pero dito, sa batas din naman natin, may reverse complementarity. At it is in the context na if the ICC is already investigating, then we should allow them.
Actually, we already know that yun yung magiging defense. Senator De La Rosa has said so many times that he believes, and Duterte believes, the ICC does not have jurisdiction over the Philippines anymore. So yung TRO, how difficult is it going to be to get, do you think? And especially since yung window that we're talking about is very small. March 19 tayo nag-pull out of the ICC. They began investigating late 2018, if I recall correctly. So how difficult do you think it'll be?
For them, it would be really difficult because they need to show that there has been a grave violation of someone's rights, constitutional rights. Yung sa jeepney modernization nga, di ba, karapatan yun ng mga jeepney driver na maging malayang makapili kung sasali sila sa isang consolidated entity o hindi. Hindi nag-issue ng TRO ang Supreme Court. Kaya may positive and may negative na mga example ngayon sa Supreme Court. Pero maingat sila. Maingat sila tungkol dito. Ewan ko lang kung makaka-apekto yung, alam nyo na, publicity, tsaka yung public clamor over this. Sana naman hindi. Kasi sa totoo, kung if you come to terms with it, simply put, the ICC is asking if we can have, kung sakaling may warrant, is asking if we can put or have one of your individuals or several of your individuals, some Filipinos, taken to trial. Hindi naman yan dinadala ng bitayan to trial para lang sa hearing. And I would imagine that the court will agree na there is no violation of your right because precisely you're being afforded due process. And it would be very hard for them, I guess, to keep on repeating that they have no jurisdiction, that the ICC has no jurisdiction over a particular period of time. Grabe na lang yung deny to death na argumento kung kakatigan pa yan ng Supreme Court. So, well, good luck to them and of course, good luck to us
Pero
kung paano natin ipaglalaban to.
Diba, attorney, may kaunting de facto recognition yung gobyerno nung panahon ni Justice Secretary Guevara, nung 2021, nung nag-request siya sa kay Karim ng respite doon sa investigation ng ICC for 10 months, 1 year, na sabi niya, bigyan muna ng pagkakataon yung ating justice system na ipakita na it's working. Pero noong 2022, binawi yan ng ICC dahil nga wala namang nakasuhan nung panahon na yon. So walang nakita ang ICC na improvement dun sa ating justice system para talakayin itong mga EJK na ito in their thousands. Kaya binawi yan noong 2022. Pero sinasabi ko lang, di ba de facto recognition yan na humingi ng palugit si then Justice Secretary Guevara na ngayon ay Solgen ni BBM. humingi siya ng palugit, therefore recognizing na meron ngang proseso na gumugulong sa ICC in relation sa ating bansa kahit umalis na tayo.
Oh, actually, yung very question of jurisdiction, you have submitted yourself voluntarily to the jurisdiction of the court
Yes.
if you go to court. Kaya yung submissions nila, yung apela nila for ang tawag dito, relief, affirmative relief na, uy, pwede mo bang wag nang ituloy yung ano mo? That is asking the court for something na pabor sa'yo. And that is recognizing that the court has power to do kung ano man, di ba? Kaya sana maging consistent din sila dun sa kanilang posisyon kasi may posisyon kasi na walang jurisdiction yan, so wag na lang natin pansinin. Biglang nagpunta sa ICC may submissions. Nag-hire pa tayo dun, di ba, ng lawyer, si
Yes.
Sarah Bafadel.
Yes.
Nakita ko siya recently, sabi ko, magaling nga talaga si Sarah Bafadel. Magkano kaya to per hour? Kaya si Sarah Bafadel ay isa sa mga nagtitrain ng mga counsels. Nung nag-training kami recently, isa siya sa mga nandun. Kaya sabi ko, mukhang isa to sa mga expert talaga sa processes.
Okay.
Maraming salamat.
Okay.
Oh.
We'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your time, Attorney Christina Conti, lawyer to drug war complainants. We'll let you go kasi we know you have a meeting pa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Attorney.
Maraming salamat,
Ingat.
attorney.
You are watching Storycon on One News. We just need to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
We've got developing news in the stories behind headlines. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao.
I'm Regina Lay, and still with us, Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star and Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit.
Interesting, binabanggit kanina ni Tony
Attorney Conti.
Yung Cayetano versus Pangilinan versus
Pangilinan.
Cayetano. On one hand, it says na it's moot already kasi we've left and it's the prerogative of the president to leave the ICC. On the other hand, but this is the point of debate nga, obiter dictum ang sabi ng iba, which means basically na it's just an opinion, what is
it's not a decision.
It's not part
Yeah.
of the decision itself. Na yun nga, that we have residual obligations because of membership in
Dahil
the
very
court.
clear kasi sa Rome Statutes na meron kang palugit. Pag nagsabi ka na aalis ka, may 1 year na palugit, yung mga magfo-fall doon sa palugit na yon ay magpapatuloy. Magpapatuloy yun. At may jurisdiction noon ng ICC. Very categorical yon. No, hindi mo naman kinakailangan maging learned para maunawaan yon. Yung ganong klaseng provision doon sa Rome Statutes. No, ang ICC, na basihan ng pagtatayo ng ICC. Kaya,
Pero, what I'm saying basically
kaya
is
walang
ano,
debate sa
Na may
Supreme Court.
jurisdiction.
Lahat
As far as they're concerned,
lahat sila kahit opinion lang yon.
But what I'm saying is that there is no jurisprudence as of yet establishing that. So in other words,
This will be a landmark case.
yeah, if it does go to court again, it may swing either way. Although
I doubt kung consensus babawiin ng mga consensus yung kanilang opinion, medyo tatamaan yung kanilang pagiging legal luminary nun.
Hindi na sila learned.
Hindi na sila learned. Katulad ni Ed Lingao. No?
Although at the same time din, nagbago rin ang ihip na the political winds have shifted since
It always takes into account the current political environment.
Kaya nga nung tinanong mo kanina, kay Attorney Conti, ano yung mga pwede magbago? Sabi ko, political. No? Dahil nga...
sabi ni Tony, it's not a fine print, it's actually the big picture.
Yun eh.
Well, just paraphrasing it.
But Ami, nung break...
Saka yung kung political yan, alam naman natin kung nasa ng sentimiento ng current administration when it comes to the Dutertes, di ba?
Yes.
Nagbago na rin Nagkaroon ng dramatic shift dyan, di ba?
Oo.
Yung position on the ICC.
It's interesting
Kaya,
because...
tingnan natin kung anong magiging because we're expecting it will go to the Supreme Court.
Sabi nga ni Jay Ruiz, nabalitaan.
Secretary Luis.
Secretary Ruiz,
Thank you very
nabalitaan din nila. Diba? Nabalitaan din nila. Diba?
Pero you're right, Ami, if this had been issued mga 8 months ago, siguro, iba din yung, that's a very different climate, right? Because we've been talking about this for a year. And finally...
Pero the change started ng December 2023 nung nag-soften yung position ni Justice Remulla nung October na sinabi niya na
2024 October. Recently lang yung nag-soften publicly at least.
That was
medyo matagal na yan.
That was October 2023 na sinabi ni Justice Remulla na sila ay open sa pagpasok ng ICC.
Yes, yung word open.
Open. Tapos si President Bongbong noong November 2023 ay sinigundahan niya yung sinabi ni Justice Remulla at si Harry Roque noong December 2023 ang binabanatan na nila, hindi na si Speaker. Ang sabi ni ex-human rights lawyer Harry Roque ay sa kanilang paniniwala ang magpapapasok sa ICC ay hindi si Speaker o si Justice Remulla, kung hindi yung Presidente mismo. Kaya doon mo nakita na open warfare na to.
Because you're right, before then, they were adamant na they will not cooperate with the ICC.
Actually,
walang jurisdiction.
Naglabas ang Congress at saka Senate ng resolution protecting Digong. No?
What happened to that
That was February 2023.
What happened to that? No?
There was even a point in...
Wala na.
There was even a point with the chiefs
Ang natatandaan ko at the end of 2023, ang sinabi ni President Marcos, tinanong siya, are we open ba kayo for us to return to the Rome Statute? Ang sinabi niya, it's under study.
Pinag-aaralan.
Di ba? Pinag-aaralan, under study. Hanggang ngayon, di pa natin alam kung ano ang resulta ng pag-aaral na yan.
But I also
siguro may
remember...
nag-drop out sa school, Baka may nag-drop out sa school o nakalimutan yung lesson. Pero baka pwedeng tanungin pag na-ambush uli siya.
Pero I also remember our interview with Remulla, I think it was 2023 or 2022. 23 siguro yun.
Yes.
Sabi niya, if
Yes.
the ICC comes to the country, he will meet them at the airport and send
Them back.
That's right.
Sabi niya,
Oo,
that
there
was,
a
Yun ang
time.
original.
that was
That's
February 2023.
Oo,
And
Ano
then
ba-
it started
yung
shooting
original?
in the
Or,
next months.
and hindi pa papasukin at all.
Hindi ko makalimutan yun dahil binanata ko yun.
Pero a couple of months later, remember,
init
Ed,
ng hangin.
sinabi ni Ren, ni Secretary Remulla, the same Secretary Remulla, sabi niya, kung meron daw magte-testify na mga police, di ba? Sabi niya, he's calling on the police officers na involved doon sa drug war
Ay, hindi lang yun.
na
Ang
mag-testify
sabi
at
niya, maraming
poproteksyonan
police
nila.
officers gustong lumitaw pero hindi makaano because
Nata-
they are not,
Oo.
they cannot
Kaya
be
sabi
given
niya, poproteksyonan nila.
Protection.
Oo.
For me,
Sabi niya, kung meron, mag-ano kayo sa amin, poproteksyonan nyo namin kayo. Mukhang walang, at that time ha, mukhang walang kumagat. Pero ngayon, I think meron na, no? Medyo marami-rami na ang lumapit sa kanila. Especially with the Quadcom investigation.
and also,
Marami na sila.
also remember the briefing book that sino yun? Si Asek Lavano talked to us about, that they were preparing a briefing for President Marcos, talking about all scenarios.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, ito yung scenario A, we give up former President Duterte. Scenario B, we don't, etc., etc. So he admitted na, okay, we're preparing a briefing document for him to lay out all his options.
May bago
legally.
kang senaryo na nakita kanina na nagjo-joke si Digong na 1 month pa daw siya
There was
sa Hong Kong.
there was
Alam
an
mo naman
online report.
Alam mo naman si Digong, pag nag-joke, seryoso.
Kasi good for 30 days, walang visa sa Hong
Walang
Kong.
visa ron.
So you can say there that.
Hindi, longer dahil under ng China ang Hong Kong kahit kunyari autonomous.
Iba na naman ang what is up behind
Yes,
you? This
we were
is the
talking about this
Interpol
before.
website. Ito yung red notice. You can view the red notices here.
Kita ko
Puro
muna
mga
sa
ang mga Pilipino,
hindi namin makita.
labing isang Pilipino ang naka-red notice ngayon sa Interpol.
Wala naman ako dyan. Parang si Manny Mugato nakita ko. Ay, hindi ba? Akala ko si Manny Mugato eh.
mukhang, anong mga crimes
Meron pang
are we
70
talking about?
Meron pang 78 years old, oh.
May 37 nga, oh. What crimes are we talking about?
For example, meron siyang murder,
Ba't may,
conspiracy to commit
ba't may
murder.
nakalagay na balding? Parang tinamaan ako nun ah.
So ganun. Some of them are trafficking, some of them are murder, and some of them.
Mukhang drug trafficking din, some of them.
Kasi as a member of the Interpol, the Philippine National Police and the NBI can also ask Interpol to publish red notices for Filipinos wanted and they're abroad. However, also take note then, the Interpol website says that most of the red notices are actually for law enforcement use only, meaning the implication being that they may not all be published.
Oh, itong
Reg, wala ako dyan ha. O kasi pinagkakalat mo, nakasama ako dyan eh.
may balding.
May balding.
May isa doon
Affected
ka.
ka na masyado.
Kasi nga kung ipapublish, Ed, mano-notify yung wanted eh. Kung wanted dyan and they are in hiding,
Yes.
mano-notify sila, di ba?
Tama.
Kaya meron ding mga confidentiality yan eh. Siyempre mga ano yan eh, mga law enforcement agencies yan eh.
Yeah.
Alam din naman nila importante na bakit naman natin i-announce sa buong mundo na hinahanap natin tong taon to.
They probably publish it after the warrant has been
After.
issued and they're already publicly looking for
Pero
them.
they will notify, I think they're the counterparts, their local counterparts. Di ba?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Hindi
yeah.
lang ipapublish.
Yeah. Actually, yun ang mauna. Because the local counterparts are the ones who are supposed to make the arrest. Because unlike what we see in the movies, the Interpol does not go from country to country with guns
yan
drawn
nga.
and shooting it out.
Kaya nga nung sinabi ni Digong last year, na kung may ICC na magsaserve ng warrant sa kanya sa Davao, ay imamassacre niya at siya ay maghaharakiri afterwards. Ang problema, nakalimutan yata niya o baka hindi niya alam, na hindi naman magpaparachute yung ICC sa Pilipinas.
ICC.
Hindi rin magpaparachute yung Interpol. No, ire-request nila yung PNP na i-implement yung warrant.
I'm sure he knows that. Of course, he has to say it dramatically, right?
Yan nga. So, ang
I'm
imamassacre
Oo
niya,
nga, parang jet ski yan.
so ang imamassacre niya,
Parang jet
PNP.
skiing yan to
Oo,
Scarborough.
exactly. Ito, here's a question for you guys. Anong difference ng red notice with an international arrest warrant? because we're talking about a red notice. It's not the same as an international arrest warrant.
Well, a red notice can be the result of an international arrest warrant. A red notice can be the result of a national arrest warrant or an international tribunal's arrest warrant. In this case, particularly an ICC warrant.
Pero in this case, we're not talking about an international arrest warrant, right? Wala pang international arrest warrant for Dico.
Yung parang dito, yung magti-trigger ng red notice is an international arrest warrant.
For example, from the ICC.
Halimbawa, from the ICC. Kaya magne-red notice ang
Lahat ng
Interpol.
police
Oo,
authorities, yeah.
Pag pumunta halimbawa si Digong sa isang airport, i-hold siya ron. No? I-hold siya ron.
O kaya yung mga nakita mong pictures kanina ng mga Pilipino rito, those are probably national arrest warrants that PNP and the NBI submitted to Interpol so that they can look for them abroad. So that's a national arrest warrant.
Halimbawa, 15 na kinasuhan sa ICC ay at large. Naka-red notice yun. Dahil based on an international warrant. So naka-red notice yun. Hinahunting pa yun hanggang ngayon. 5 ay namatay na. No? Nakatandaan na o namatay na. Kaya tinanggal na yung kanilang red notice at saka warrant. Pero may 15 pa na hinahunting. Most of them are Africans. Most of them, if not all, are Africans. Kaya nga itong kaso ni Digong is the first Asian para makasuhan sa ICC.
First head of
Ngayon,
state.
paano kung ayaw ng, halimbawa, kung totoo lang, kasi dinideny nila eh. Kung totoo lang na nagpunta nga doon para kung sakasakali, humingi ng tulong kay Uncle Xi, si President Duterte, paano kung hindi nga ibigay ng China? Anong mangyayari kaya?
Well, pwede tayong mag-request sa China dahil sabihin natin sa China, meron pa naman tayong diplomatic relation, hindi naman tayo at war. So, ibig sabihin, to honor that diplomatic relations, mag-request tayo na i-extradite nila sa Pilipinas yung ating pugante. So, pwede mag-request na ganon. Kung hindi gagawin ng China, then yung propaganda na si Digong ay talagang tuta ng China, magagamit ng kanyang mga detractors at mga kalaban. Maliban pa doon sa paggamit ng desisyon na siya ay kasuhan ng crimes against humanity. Sa ngayon kasi, yung kaso niya ay hindi pa official. Ngayon, magiging official na kung meron na siyang warrant.
That's what I'm saying.
So, tatamaan
Wala pa
dyan.
yung international arrest warrant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pag natuloy yan at magtago siya sa China, tatamaan siya ng double whammy. Na siya ay pro-China, kinukup-kup siya, at meron na siyang crimes against humanity, tatalsikan yan. Halimbawa, yung kanyang mga kaalyado na tumatakbo sa midterms or even yung kanyang anak na ayaw pang simulan yung trial dahil nga nagbabakasyon yung mga senador at gano'n. So tatamaan dyan yung mga senador. No? Ibig sabihin, hindi pwedeng ihiwalay kasi si Sarah sa tatay. Actually, na-create si Sarah because of the father.
Yep.
Di ba? So, medyo may talsik yan kung sakaling matuloy.
And by the way, can we
Pero
call him...
if Ronald, kay Duterte, what about China? May mawawala ba sa China if they hold on? Kaibigan nila yan eh.
Yes, dahil kung bibigay nila si Duterte, baka yung iba nilang mga kaalyado na inaalagaan, tignan sila as an hindi matibay na kaalyado. Katulad ng nakikita ngayon ni Zelensky kay Trump. So, tingin ko, poprotektahan to the max ni Xi, si Digong. No? Poprotektahan niya.
And by the way, can we call him Pugante already? Pugante
Hindi
fugitive?
nga, kung-
Kaya nga.
No, it's not.
Yes,
Kung lumabas
wala
yung
pa.
warrant at saka
Yes. Yes, pero for now, hindi pa siya Pugante.
Hindi pa siya Pugante.
fugitive.
Ako, yan naman yung word ng fugitive na yan. Kaya ako tinamaan ng kidlat na you're not learned in the law.
Napagalitan ka because
doon yan galing.
because at that time, si Kibulay was not a
Kibulay
fugitive yet.
No,
Hindi,
He was.
fugitive siya. Ang sabi ni Torion, hindi raw.
Hindi pa- okay.
Ang sabi ni Attorney Edlingaw, pugante. No? Kaya, abogado ka ba?
So, nag-away kayo.
Tinanong siya kung abogado siya. No? Tinanong siya kung abogado
Uy,
siya.
he's a lawyer, a constitutional law professor, si
Sino
Attorney
si-
Torion.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just pointing it out.
More.
Okay.
More.
But lawyers, will argue...
Either way.
To
will
death.
argue their side.
To death. Ganyan.
That's what they're lawyers for.
Kung
Okay,
hindi sila babayaran.
we have run out of time, so I have to say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining Storycon today. I'm Iva Mintuan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star. Of course, Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit. Join us again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. We're One News, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.